is something that I learned in soul coaching, which is learning how to teach people to connect to their souls. Because really, when we connect to our souls, to our hearts, to our true self, that's where we will find peace. We want to live our lives from that place of wholeness, of light, of pure potentiality, of goodness. And regardless of our situation outside of ourselves, we want to connect back to the soul, because the soul is not happy dependent on external forces. The soul is always content. The soul is always connected to something bigger than itself. One of the things that I learned in my course was, in order to connect to the soul and the health of the soul, one of the best things to do is meditation. And I know that a lot of you are going to say, I can't meditate, Mama B. I can't quiet my head. I sit there and I think about the groceries, and I think about cleaning the house and taking the dog out and picking up the kids. I get it. And we all go through that. It's actually really, really difficult to silence the mind. Regular meditation is a lot more beneficial than sporadic. So try to do it, even if it's 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes. Sit down, find a quiet place to close your eyes. And what I want you to start recognizing is how you're feeling. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to recognize our thoughts, our mind. We're going to recognize our body, what our body is doing, and then we're going to recognize our emotions, okay? In order for us to live from soul, those three things need to be aligned, okay? So what does that mean? When it's not aligned, it looks like this. Here we have our soul, and here we have our body, and we have mind. We'll do that as an M. We have body, and we have our emotions, okay? Now, if these things are unaligned and uneven, we cannot fully live from our soul, okay? We cannot connect fully to our soul and live a soul-driven life. When our soul is on equal par as mind, body, we have mind, body, and emotions, okay? So they're all equal. This is where the magic happens and we can start living from our soul. For example, if I am sitting having lunch with a friend and we're talking, the two of us, you might walk into the restaurant, look at me and say, she's having a really great time with her friend. When in fact, you may not see that I am sitting with this friend and my mind could be elsewhere because I'm not engaged. I'm not fully engaged with this person who I may have been friends with for a long time, but we're not really connecting anymore because I've grown and this person hasn't. This person may be the same person that they were 10 years ago, where because I've been on this learning journey and I've become a completely different person, we're not meshing like we used to. And then when I think about my body has tension in it. And so I'm sitting there in this lovely restaurant having this lovely meal with this lovely person, but I'm not comfortable because I'm not being true to who I am. I'm not being true to myself by spending my time with this person and trying to be something that I'm not. I'm no longer that person anymore. And so my body could be tense. I could be holding tension in my shoulders, my stomach. I could be holding my stomach and not even realizing it because I'm tense. Maybe my head hurts. Maybe I just feel pressure in my head because I don't like where the conversations are going. It could be about gossiping. It could be about material things and basing happiness on materials. The third thing is emotions. And so I may be not really fully aware of what I'm feeling in that moment. Even though it looks great on the outside, what I'm feeling is not actually matching what I'm experiencing on the outside of my body. So my inside is not matching my outside. And so I could leave from this experience and feel re-energized, reinvigorated, full of life, full of joy. Or I could leave this interaction with this person thinking, I'm so glad that's done with. I feel yucky inside. I feel low energy. I feel tired. I feel fearful. I feel miserable. There were so many people who, when I told them that I was going to Nepal, their first question was, aren't you scared? Instead of saying, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. Good for you. I can't wait to see pictures. There are people who are going to try to put their fears and insecurities and doubts that they feel inside of themselves onto you. And not because they're conscious of it. They're completely unconscious of what they're doing. And so a lot of times what people say and do is nothing about you. It's about what they're experiencing inside. And so with this example, as you can see, my mind, my body, and my emotions are not aligned with what I'm experiencing. On the contrary though, if I'm experiencing something where I have chosen the people that I spend my time with, or even better, I'm by myself. I've given myself time to be alone. Solitude is one of the most incredible things when you are trying to discover discover who you are and connecting back to who and what you really are. And so I'm by myself, I'm doing what I love, which to me, evolution and change and growth are my values that I hold near and dear to my heart. And so I'm probably either reading something, or I'm watching a documentary film, or I'm listening to a podcast or something that can help me grow. I could be eating really delicious food that is nourishing my body, not making me feel sick and tired and weighted down. And so when all of these things are matching and there's a natural flow of energy and it's easy and I'm not holding tension, I can be myself, I can be my true self and not be something that I'm not, then the attention starts to go to the soul instead of the shadow and the dark and the ego. One of the things that I love most about meditation, and this is going to take a little while for people to get used to, is when you get comfortable with the uncomfortable emotions. And so for a lot of us, and I was guilty of this too, I used to run away from difficult emotions. I only wanted to feel happiness, and I didn't want to feel the fear, the pain, the doubt. I didn't want to feel those feelings, and so I just avoided them. When really what meditation can do is to allow you to feel more comfortable with those emotions that come to the surface, deal with them, accept them, recognize that they're there, and then let them go. And so an example that I'm going to use now is something that I came to terms with from my own childhood. And so I've shared with you all how I had a little bit of a dark past and I'd been through a lot in my own life. And one of the things that I was carrying with me was the pain that I suffered as a child when I was 11 years old and I was molested by someone that was a trusted family friend. And so this man came to our home with his wife and daughters to have dinner with my family, and he ended up molesting me in my own home. And that fear that I felt, that helplessness, I carried with me my whole entire life, and I still carry with me. But what I was able to do in meditation was to sit with my eyes closed, go back in time to that situation, experience that fear that I experienced that night, and be willing to sit with it and to understand that it wasn't my fault, that there was nothing that I could have done, and this was pain that this person was carrying. It was important for me to go back to that room, to that situation when I was a little girl, and heal that little girl, to heal little me, letting her know that everything was going to be all right, that she was not defined by this situation, and that this situation could just be another learning situation where in the next time, I'm not going to trust people as easily as I have. Trust is going to be earned. It's not going to be freely given to everyone. And realizing that my body is my own and that I demand respect from the people that I'm around. And so this was a learning journey that I took all alone by myself in my room, but I was able to connect back to that fear that I felt when I was a little girl and let it go so that I don't carry that fear from the past into the present and then into my future. Maybe what I'll do now to end the video, I want to encourage you to meditate with me, to take a couple of minutes. It's going to be really short, I promise, but let's get comfortable, okay? So find a seated position where you're comfortable. You can cross your legs if that makes you feel comfy. You can even lie down on the ground if that makes you feel better. And you're going to close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. And you're going to start to realize that you have this magnificent breath. One of the few things that we can depend on in this lifetime while we're alive is our breath. And just feeling gratitude for this breath that we have that allows us to live another day. From our breath and the gratitude that we feel for our life and for the experiences, the good and the bad, we have gratitude for it all because it's all making us grow and change and evolve and using what we've learned to help improve the world, to make changes, positive changes for the people around us. And while we breathe, I want you to focus on your mind. Focus on the thoughts, on the busyness. What is your mind telling you? What is true? What is not true? Can you recognize the thoughts and then let them go? And recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are not the mind. You are not the shadow. And you are not the ego. And hopefully, with loving affirmations for yourself, your mind will start to slow down. And your breathing has started to slow down as well, into more fluid, conscious breaths. Think about the body now. How are you sitting? Do you feel the ground underneath you supporting you, holding you? Imagine that everything in this universe, in this life, is rigged in your favor, so that even the good and the bad times, the positive and the negative, it's all there to teach you something and to help you grow. And can you allow yourself to start letting go in your body? So whether it's tension in your stomach, in your feet, in your knees, in your hands, in your shoulders, start to let all of those areas go, so that when you breathe, your life force can go to all the parts of your body evenly. The last thing are your emotions. What are you feeling? Be honest with yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize yourself. See what shows up. Acknowledge it with love. And figure out what emotions are serving you and which are not. Which ones you can let go of and which ones you want to hold on to. Start to recognize how you can make these three things, mind, body, and emotions, connect more fully inside yourself so that you can bring more peace into your life. Open your eyes. Thanks for doing that with me. I hope that you will start a meditation practice in your home, even if it's only 5 minutes. Hopefully those increments you can add on to 7 minutes or 8 minutes or 9 minutes or 10 minutes. And it doesn't become a chore anymore. It's something where you can start to connect back to yourself. You can start to connect back to the energy of the world and recognizing that there is so much more to your magnificent life. There is so much more outside of you. My hope is that you would start to cultivate a meditation practice yourself. Start to spend time with yourself. Start clearing out your schedule. There's a lot of distractions out there. There are people distracting us, the news, things that you see on social media. Start to spend more time connecting back to yourself. Dedicate more time to quiet time and doing what we did here, which was connecting to what you're thinking, to what you're feeling physically, and then what you're feeling inside. Thanks for joining me. Sending all my love to all of you watching. Namaste.